award together, sitting next to you tonight and getting this with you, it's just destiny chasing. It just means everything to me. And then I realized that Brian said, we're gonna have one person, give you the award. And I was like, there's nobody that's been on this journey with me more than TJ. And also, I really like when TJ puts me over and tells me I'm pretty and I'm great. But yes, so Becky Lynch, she put me through the ringer, and yes, she's a bitch. But wild animals couldn't have kept me from being here today. To be the first woman ever to be awarded the prestigious Youth As Award means everything to me. To come from a house that is always filled with legends, to end up in a room full of them. Only now, I'm not a young girl hoping to break in. I finally feel like a woman who has. In 1947, the story of the Hart wrestling family began, not in Calgary or even Canada, but in New York, where my grandfather, a tourist, was spotted by the legendary Toots Mondt in Jack Dempsey's restaurant. It was also in New York where Stu, now Mondt's star rookie, met a New York scholar, Helen Smith. Helen hated the wrestling business. She really, really did. But she loved Stu. Stu loved the wrestling business and loved Helen. So they eventually moved to Calgary to open their own promotion, to buy a house big enough for the things that needed to house the things that needed a little TLC. Old cars, stray cats, 25 stray cats, and most importantly, professional wrestlers. One of which was my dad, Nattie Neidhart. Now, my dad was coming from the NFL. He played for two major NFL teams, the Dallas Cowboys and the Oakland Raiders. And defensive tackle. But he had a bad elbow and a huge cocaine problem. Only kidding, I'm just kidding, cocaine problem came in. Guys, I'm just trying to bring it. But it was in the Hart house that my parents met. And my grandfather gave my dad a beautiful gift when he found out he and my mom were dating. 2 ruptured eyeballs down in the dungeon. But my dad was tough as nails, and 3 months after he started dating my mom, they married, and that's where I came along. And that's when the Hart house became my home. The thing was back then, if you were a guy and didn't want to wrestle in the Hart family, you probably felt like an outsider. But if you were a girl and you wanted to wrestle, you just felt weird. I know I did. That's why it took me years and years to say that I finally wanted in. My dad, Stu, Brett, Owen, Davey, and everyone else were always on my mind. And I know my dad worried about how much the wrestling business treated women back then. He didn't want me getting treated badly and getting paid pennies for it. My dad was also worried that I would get roughed up, so I put him at ease by starting my journey in the notorious legends of Japan. See, I didn't have to go to America to get the shit kicked out of me for no money. Daddy, I could do it in London and Tokyo too. And I loved it. Well, not the no money part, I mean, I love my Louis Vuitton. But the aggression, the intensity, the art of what these women were doing, I remember struggling to breathe at one point with that fresh sting of a huge bump running up and down my spine. And it just made me feel at home 1,000 miles away from the Hart house. But like everything worth spending a life chasing, this wasn't going to be easy. It's not easy today. It never gets easy. And if it ever does, I'll know it's time to hang them up. I'm not sure if you guys know, and I probably haven't mentioned this in public before, but I'm a Hart. Which I guess from the outside might seem like it would help open doors. But I guess I was born with the original sin in WWE, in that by the time I arrived at their door, there was already a couple of lifetimes of history between the Harts and McMahons. And I'm not sure if you've heard, but not all of it was great. So up I roll in the era of perfect 10 models looking like the anvil in the day. I was a little thicker back then. I had to learn the painful lesson of adding the sizzle to the steak, and I'm still learning it today. When I began, I was worried about where I'd fit in. When you come from a family that has done it all, it's hard to find new ground to prove yourself. I couldn't be the first to do a lot of things, but what my dad said was, be the first to beat the house. That's what the professional part of professional wrestling is all about. When you're done, to be able to leave not broke or broken. Well, Daddy, I'm still working on it. Next year will be 20 years of my continuous, uninterrupted, full-time run in WWE. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it, guys.